But the question was, when do you see yourself renouncing the contract, and also, are you finding it harder to get pawn listed on Binance than you did Pepe?
Okay, so those are two questions. The first question is what contract are you talking about?
The PNDC
The
contract.
token contract?
Correct.
You're asking me when is the ownership of that smart contract going to be renounced?
Like, are you thinking about doing that, or is that going to be a
I'm just
thing,
trying to
or?
understand the question before I respond to it. You're asking me when is the ownership of that smart contract going to be renounced? Is that correct?
Correct.
Why are you curious about that? Just so I understand.
I don't know. It's something to
But
be
like, are
curious
you
about
are
because I think
you
it makes it more
have you ever
decentralized.
deployed a smart contract just like for context?
No, but I've seen numerous of
So
contracts
you've
be
never
deployed.
deployed a smart contract, but you're asking questions about the way that you handle a smart contract.
I don't. Is that question like upsetting
Not
you,
at all, not
or?
at all. It's fascinating me actually. It's quite the contrary. The reason that it's fascinating, Andrew, is because you just explained to me very clearly why you're asking questions that you don't understand why you're asking. So when people deploy,
How do I not understand
let
that
me finish.
question?
When people deploy shitcoins, that's always a standard question that people want to know. When are you going to renounce the ownership of the smart contract? That's shitcoin lingo. Like anyone who's spent 10 minutes in a shitcoin telegram, that's always what they say. They say, look, there's a new shitcoin, and it's good because the ownership of the smart contract has been renounced. And we've even seen people in our community get rugged on projects where they're like, oh, the ownership of the smart contract has been renounced. It's totally safe. It's totally fine. We've seen people literally get rugged in our. Hold
Do you
on,
know the
Andrew,
importance of
hold
that
on.
though?
Don't interrupt me, please. Okay? Because I'm taking my time to explain something to you, and I don't need you to talk over me. So, what I was saying is that we've seen people get taken advantage of with projects that have renounced smart contract ownership, right? The reason you're asking me that question has nothing to do with your technical understanding of smart contracts. You're asking me that question because that is a normal question that people ask about shitcoins. And it's okay to ask that question. But it's also okay for me to point out that you don't even understand why you're asking me that question. So, and I'll answer it anyways. The answer to the question is that, am I considering it? Of course I'm considering it. I'm considering any option that's going to be for the best outcome of the community and the project itself, right? I have to be open-minded to everything. And in general, I don't see any reason why that would not be good practice to do that, right? To me, it's good to have smart contracts with ownership renounced. So the answer to the question, when will that happen? It will happen if and when the engineering team decides that that is necessary and a good thing to do at that point in time. And just to point out for further context, Andrew, there are multi-billion-dollar companies that have smart contracts that they have not renounced. And they have multi-billion-dollar companies that have smart contracts that they did renounce after like a year and a half or a year or 2 years or 6 months or whatever it is. So it's all a relative thing. It is a valid question, but you're asking me that question as if we're talking about a shitcoin. And we are not talking about a shitcoin. We're talking about an ecosystem and
That's
hold
speculation
on.
though.
Please, you keep interrupting me. It's really.
Because you're dragging it on,
Hold
you're
on,
coming at
Andrew.
my
I'm not
intelligence.
finished, though. I'm allowed to talk as long as I would like, I believe. Is that correct, Mooks? Thank you.
Definitely.
So, as I was saying, we're not talking about a shitcoin. We're talking about an ecosystem. We're talking about a decentralized exchange. We're talking about some other things which are in development but haven't been made public yet. But just for example, the decentralized exchange has done over $130 million worth of trading volume in the last 30 days. And also, PawnCoin, in the last 30 days, there's only 2 tokens in the world that have done more volume on decentralized exchanges than PawnCoin. One of them is called Rollbit, which is number 2, and number 1 is Pepe. So there's only 2 tokens in the world that are doing more volume, and they're only doing more volume by a very little margin than PawnCoin. So, yeah, I just want you to understand it's a ridiculous question, but I answered it anyways. And the second question is, am I finding it harder to get PawnCoin listed on Binance than I did to get Pepe listed on Binance? Absolutely not. And they're 2 completely different situations. And yeah, that's it. And if you want me to discuss conversations that I'm having with other businesses or with other individuals, they're private conversations. And if you want to ask a question like that, think about the question. You asked me two questions back to back that are both retarded. No offense. Go ahead.
So you just said the question was a good question. Now you're saying retarded. And you came on my intelligence all for that. You did all that just to answer the question. Like, you know why people like when the contract is renounced? It's so
You can
that
explain it to us since you
they
have
can be in full
Andrew.
control of the
Explain it to us since
community
you
and
have
it's
no
not in control of
experience
the
with you have no experience with Solidity smart contract.
Can you not
Yeah,
cut me off
go
when I'm
ahead.
speaking? Thank you. All right. So, like I was saying, people like when the contract is renounced, so that because on your contract you have a function that allows you to continue minting the supply, which can affect the price and affect holders. So that's why I asked the question. I didn't ask the question because I think it's a shitcoin, which I stated up here numerous of times. So,
Andrew, you already told us that you have no experience with smart contracts.
can I ask you a question? What experience do you have with smart contracts? Isn't this your first smart contract?
This is Pauly's first smart contract. I,
Yep, and you
Dude,
talk about all these other projects that don't renounce their contract for years, right? It's because they built up a reputation for years. They didn't build their reputation up by slandering a different
Andrew,
business.
I'm a founder of multiple projects, and I don't feel the need to validate myself to you. Okay.
You don't have to. I've seen all your
Okay.
projects, and
Okay.
honestly, like they're
Andrew,
shameful.
if you're asking me if this is my first smart contract, you know that that is not true. So why are you up here lying,
This isn't your first ERC-20.
Andrew? Stop being ridiculous. Okay.
Okay.
yeah, Andrew, stop it.
If
You're
you
being
came up
bad
here to
boy.
try to be mean, there's no need for it.
I literally had a genuine question. I asked you if you're
I
thinking about
answered
renouncing the
Andrew,
contract.
I answered both your questions. Is there anything else you'd like to discuss, or can we move on?
No, that's it. I would just respect you more if you came at it with like some
Okay.
manners and then like try
Okay.
to like
Cool.
belittle me and
I
stuff
don't
like
care if
that.
you
Like, you
respect
know what
me.
I'm
I
saying? Like, don't
respect
forget who brought you here. Like, this community is the reason why you're in that seat, not yourself.
Andrew. I don't care about your opinion. Thank you.
It's not a opinion, it's a fact, bitch.
Andrew, take it easy,
And you
bud.
can suck my dick, you fat
Okay.
motherfucker.
Cool. Thanks for coming.
Bye, Andrew.
So
Good. I
obviously,
mean,
there's
come
like a
on.
little bit of a personal issue that that person has, and they have difficulty controlling their emotions, and it is what it is. They'll come with age and
He's
experience.